I just want to say we're so passionate about classic movies.
We're going to expand the conversation.
You can see the passion that's in this room.
It's thrilling to the core.
Put a new spin on some vintage films.
It's classic movies and more.
How you doing? I'm Rob Madaska from Classic Movies and More, and we have a full set today for our show. With us are Jack Theakston. Good to see you, Jack. Bob Furmanek, once again, he's moving in, so he's going to be here. And somebody who already lives here. It's Rob. Hey, Rob.
Hi.
And again, I'm Rob Madaska, so welcome. Bob's here. He's got new stuff coming out. We're all excited. Bob, forewarn us. What's happening?
Well, one of the great 3D films of all time is It Came from Outer Space. And we just finished a restoration for Universal, and it's going to be released on 3D Blu-ray October 4th. And it's an exclusive from Best Buy.
Oh, great.
So you can order it online.
Mm-hmm.
It's $10 or $9, I think,
Mm-hmm.
plus shipping.
Okay.
But it's beautifully restored. It was historically significant in a lot of ways. It was Universal's first 3D film. It was the first science fiction film in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the very first movies ever released with stereophonic sound.
Wow.
And we have restored the original stereo tracks, which had not been heard in 63 years. And that was an amazing opportunity because it's a very dynamic track.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of setting people up for this because for those early stereo mixes, the editors wanted to really show off this new system.
Mm-hmm.
So when that spaceship explodes,
Mm-hmm.
you feel it.
Wow.
I mean, it really rocks you back. And the music is fully 3-channel, and it's a beautifully recorded track. And nobody has heard it in 63 years. So that's a very exciting part of that for audiophiles and just, for people that like historical kind of documents.
Wow, that's great.
Sounds like the orchestra's playing right in front of you while listening to it.
It's a great score, and it's a very underrated film. It's based on a story by Ray Bradbury about a spaceship that crashes in the Arizona desert,
Mm-hmm.
and Richard Carlson plays a scientist or astronomer.
Veteran character actor.
Oh yeah, he did a lot of stuff, and it's all about how these aliens want to repair their ship and basically get back on their way, and they're not here to hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really well done film, and a lot of great 3D photography that again hasn't been seen in decades.
That's great. How difficult was it to restore?
It was very difficult because it was Universal's first. It was a newly built camera rig,
Mm-hmm.
and there were quite a few baked-in alignment problems where the vertical alignment would be off. With 3D, you've got two images, a left and a right side, and they need to be perfectly balanced like this.
Mm-hmm.
If one's slightly off and higher than the other, it's basically forcing one eye to look up and the other down, which is not natural.
Yeah, it's a little tilt going on.
A little tough.
Feel like having one eyeball, like one set lower than the other, you know?
Well, which isn't a bad thing.
No, not
Not from my
necessarily.
neighbor, but he's
No, absolutely. But what we've been able to do is go back and fix all of those alignment issues. There's also quite a few shots that were cut into the film reversed so that the left eye is seeing the right image and vice versa.
Wow.
Again, these were mistakes.
Yeah.
So things that were going in the screen, or supposed to be going in the screen, are actually coming out now. It's kind of reverse, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And
whenever
again-
you have something coming off the screen, it's actually going backwards.
It's hard on the eyes. So
Yeah.
we fixed all that as well. And so it's kind of a cliche, but it's really true that what you're going to see on 3D Blu-ray in 2016
Mhm.
looks better than what audiences saw in theaters in 1953.
Wow, that's fantastic. How long did it take?
This one was about 3 months, which is average for us.
More than that, if you
Yeah.
count the pre-production on it, it's more like maybe 8 months.
Well, yeah, it took a lot. There was a lot of red tape to cut through. This
Mhm.
was our first project for Universal. They were great to work with, But when you deal with a studio, there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. And
Can you give us kind of an idea, without going into detail, what you guys had to go through just to get this thing to the public out here?
well, getting everybody on the same page. With a big studio like Universal, there's a lot of departments. So getting everybody to kind of work together and help us achieve our goal of making the best possible restoration master of it. And there were some missteps along the way. In fact, when the studio sent us the first track element for us to use, it was unusable. It was there's a process called vinegar syndrome that Jack can explain a little better, and it affects magnetic tracks where it deteriorates it. And
Yeah, the audio was just deteriorating, unfortunately. The audio elements were in rough condition, so we fortunately went back to an original or a backup tape.
How'd you get the backup tape? Track it down?
That's a long story actually, but they had it, and we got it, and managed to use that in order to restore the original stereo tracks on the film. And actually, the credit must go to Greg Kintz, our video director. He's like basically a miracle worker, and he managed to take these various elements, the picture and the sound, and do full restoration on those. So if you enjoy what you see, he's definitely the one to thank for that.
Wow.
Oh, Greg is brilliant. I mean, he's done all of our restoration work, and I don't think there's nobody better on this planet for restoring vintage 3D than Greg, because he doesn't give up. And every film has issues, and every new project has issues you haven't faced before. Greg looks at these things and he finds ways to make it work. When we restored GOG, that was a case where the left side had no color, it was totally faded. And Greg was able to bring back about 95% of the color to that. And
Frame by frame.
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah. So he's a genius when it comes to restoring 3D. We can't sing his praises enough.
Speaking of geniuses, do you have any questions you'd like to ask right now, Rob?
No.
Then what are you here for?
He's here
I'm
for
just
moral
listening.
support.
I'm just listening? All right, so you guys get to listen on YouTube. He gets to listen in person. That's one of the advantages of being related to the guy.
Well, I
Sorry.
have to say something that you'd appreciate, because I just saw your DVD collection, and this guy's got an amazing collection of movies and whatnot, kinds of figures and statues and everything. Well, prior to DVD, the only way that you could enjoy something like It Came from Outer Space in your home was 8mm. Now, if you grew up in the 50s and 60s, you remember Castle Films. This was a company started in the 1930s by Eugene Castle, and they offered, for the first 2 decades or so, the newsreels and sports films and travel films. Well, in 1957, they had the brilliant idea to say, well, let's start releasing abridgments of science fiction. And a lot of people don't realize this, but It Came from Outer Space was the first Castle Film science fiction release in 1957.
Wow.
The film was only 4 years old at the time, so it was really a brand new property. And it was released in different versions. That you have what was considered the complete edition. Now that ran about 8 minutes.
Okay.
This was called the headline edition. That runs about 2.5 or 3 minutes.
Wow.
That's the best of.
That's really the best of. I mean, there's almost no story. It's just, selected scenes.
Just effects left and right, huh?
Pretty much. But this was 1957. Now, I have to say, there's some people online that the Blu-ray is selling for $9. I've actually read some people online complaining that, well, with Best Buy you have to pay for shipping, $4. So they're getting the complete restored film for $13 or so. Well, check out these prices. If you wanted to buy this in 1957, the 8mm headline edition sold for $1.95. Using an inflation calculator, that's $16.24 today.
For 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
$8 a minute.
Yeah. If you wanted the complete edition, which ran 8 minutes, that was $5.95. Today, that would be $49.54.
50 beans
50 beans. Now,
for 8 minutes.
if you really wanted to go deluxe, you can get the 16 millimeter sound deluxe edition, which was this same thing,
Mhm.
8 minutes, 16 millimeter. That was $22.95 originally.
That's like a house back then.
That's
right?
$191 today.
Oh my God.
So $14 for a fully restored 3D Blu-ray in 2016 versus a 16 millimeter sound deluxe edition. It's a pretty good deal.
No, absolutely. What is this here in front of me? I'm looking at this.
Ah, Jack.
Oh,
You
well,
look bigger, Jay.
yes. Here, you can put these on. These are some original 3D glasses from the 50s.
Go for it.
These were from Buona Devil.
Okay.
And this is actually one of the filters that would be put on the projection port in the 50s. You'd have two projectors running at the same time, and one was for the, I think we have the left port,
Okay.
and then one would be for the right port. And this is kind of the filter that does all the magic, that makes it so that, and in fact, actually, if we hold this up and turn this on its side, you can see that the lenses on his face there, on his glasses, actually darken based on which way the filters are.
Oh, wow.
So it blocks out the light for his right eye, and then if you turn it to the side, it blocks it out for the left. So the one on the right port would be kind of like this, and the one on the left port would be like that. And it kind of blocks out, the glasses block out the light from each one.
Oh, I see. So you're seeing less rather than more with the glasses.
Correct. Yep. And these are original from the 1950s. They're actually Natural Vision, which was the company that shot Buona Devil and House of Wax and a number of other 3D pictures. GOG.
How difficult would it be to make these? Like, how did they come up and create these?
Actually, those are really simple to make. It's just a cardboard frame, and then the sheet itself is made by the Polaroid Corporation. It's called a J sheet, and it's the kind of it's very similar in a way. It's not the exact same, but it's similar to the sort of material that you have in your 3D glasses at the movie theaters today.
Okay.
And I think one of the things, the most common myth about vintage 3D is that you wore red and cyan glasses.
Yeah.
That's not true. The Polaroid system was introduced in 1936. So all of the Golden Age 3D features, and there were 50 of them, were shown with polarized lenses and glasses like your son's wearing right now. In the early 1970s, Universal converted It Came from Outer Space and Creature from the Black Lagoon to the anaglyphic red and blue 3D. Basically because it was easier.
Okay.
They didn't have to use two prints or two projectors, but it severely degraded the image.
Oh, okay.
And that's how people have seen It Came from Outer Space for the last 4 decades.
Wow.
So with this new Blu-ray, you're going to see it as it was meant to be seen.
Well, you mentioned 50 films. How many are available today?
On Blu-ray, there's about 10
Wow.
or 12. There's still quite a bit to go.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Including a number that are from the 3D Film Archive.
Yeah, we've got 5 releases available now.
Wow.
Our first was Dragonfly Squadron, a Korean War story. Then we did The Bubble from Kino Lorber, which is a science fiction film produced and directed and written by Arch Obler. We have 3D Rarities, which was a centennial celebration of the first 3D exhibition, and that's available from Flickr Alley. And The Mask, which was a Canadian, the first Canadian horror film from 1961, and that's from Kino Lorber. And GOG, which was 1954, a science fiction film about mysterious murders happening at this underground research facility, and you don't know who's quite behind them. And
There's robots in it.
And there's robots, 2 of them.
Sounds like a pharmaceutical company in New Jersey.
Yeah, pretty
A
much.
little frightening. But no, that's great. Great stories, guys. As far as like putting this stuff together, when can we expect to see this?
It Came from Outer Space will be on 3D Blu-ray released October 4th. If you go to Best Buy's website, you can order it now. Pre-orders are being taken. And Best Buy has an exclusive on it for at least 3 months, maybe more. I'm not quite sure how long, but it'll be available after that through regular retails, Amazon and whatnot.
But for $10, you can't beat it.
No, it's awesome. Plus, it's coming out just in time for Halloween,
Right.
So it's
Plus,
fantastic.
if you don't have a 3D Blu-ray setup, you can still buy it and watch it flat. It'll show up just regular flat on the screen. So if you don't like 3D or you don't have 3D capability, you can still enjoy the picture flat with stereophonic sound.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Great. You got great sound, great picture.
And special features.
What are the special features?
Oh, there's a little making of featurette that Universal cut together. In fact, Bob's in it. And we have the original trailer in both 2D and 3D. What else was there? Was there anything else?
There's a commentary track by noted historian Tom Weaver,
Oh, okay.
talking all about the production history of the film and the background. And it's a nice, I mean, you definitely get your money's worth for sure.
No, that's a lot. That's a lot of assets all on one little disc.
Yeah.
So for $10, you
Absolutely.
can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
Do you have any last questions or anything, Rob? You've been talking a little too much today.
No.
No? Are you good?
I've never heard him so quiet. What happened?
I don't know.
He's enthralled.
Yeah, there you go.
Are you enthralled? You have to-
He got to wear some cool glasses.
Yeah, that's good, right?
Mhm.
All right. For Jack, Bob, and your name is again?
Robert Medassa III.
All right, we almost understood that. I'm Rob Madaska from Classic Movies and More. All right, this is our latest edition. Again, Bob, where can they get the product?
Best Buy's website.
All right, Best Buy, information is below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time for Classic Movies and More.